it is incredibly brave to take this stance after you've made $300, $400 million not being woke, right? Loving Donald Trump, exploiting the mentally ill, wearing blackface. Look at the crop of woke comics, whether it's Stern or Jimmy Kimmel, his BFF, Sarah Silverman, Joy Behar, Michael Ian Black. What do they all have in common? They wore blackface. And then they went woke. It's not a chicken or egg thing there. You know what order it came. So I call this BFR, it's blackface reparations. There's nothing in Stern's previous career that could withstand this modern witch hunt that he now embraces. So this is a form of restitution. Maybe he says, you know, if I'm woke too, the crocodile will eat me last, but they always do eat. But I get it. He flipped from populist to elitist because now he's with elitists. That the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopelessly shallow candidate. But maybe that's the explanation. This is Stern's self-imposed penance for subjugating women to demoralizing stunts, capitalizing on desperate females thirsting for attention, even if it's from an oily paddle striking their...
Howard Stern used to be a powerhouse in radio. Bold, energetic, and impossible to ignore. But when Greg Gutfeld confronted him live on TV, everything shifted. Stern didn't laugh, didn't respond, and didn't even try to defend himself. He sat there completely quiet as the tension spread across the studio. It wasn't a calm silence. It felt like something was falling apart. Gutfeld didn't just question Stern's reputation. He challenged the very image Stern had built over decades, making the once king of shock radio appear uncertain and vulnerable. This wasn't a normal TV moment. It felt like a turning point. The man who used to joke about everyone suddenly seemed distant, while Gutfeld looked steady and confident. When Gutfeld pressed harder, Stern still didn't react, and millions of viewers watched a legendary figure lose the spark that once made him unstoppable.
You should hear what keeps him up at night.
This is what keeps me up at night. I don't understand how my fellow Americans, I don't even understand how this election is close. And yes, I'm voting for you, but I would also vote for that wall over there.
Well, he's half right. We do need a wall. You know, to keep out gang members, fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, and Anna Navarro. What's funny, though, is that Stern actually thought that was a compliment. Stern has become such a wussified sycophant, he doesn't realize that telling Kamala that he'd vote for a wall is telling her that he knows she's as dumb.
Stern wasn't completely still. He looked overwhelmed in front of everyone, almost small, unsure, and shaken. Even the audience didn't know what to do. Should they laugh? Should they feel sorry for him? The moment felt surreal. This was the same man who built his entire career by boldly challenging powerful people. Yet now, he seemed vulnerable, and in one calm exchange, Gutfeld revealed how much Stern had changed. Stern had once been the voice of rebellion, but now he seemed more interested in fitting in with elite circles, sipping fancy drinks, and socializing with Hollywood stars. Watching it unfold felt uncomfortable. Many felt he had drifted far from what he once represented. The man who mocked red carpets now walked them while complaining about how tiring fame can be, almost as if being invited to star-studded parties was a burden. Instead of reacting loudly, Gutfeld stayed steady and direct. He pointed out what others avoided saying, using simple comments that hit hard. "It's not exactly tough going from your own tennis court to your wine storage, though," he remarked, and the audience exploded. It wasn't funny as much as it felt like a wake-up call. The old Stern would have fired back instantly, but this time, he stayed quiet, almost like a background figure, offering no comeback at all. Gutfeld wasn't just sharing an opinion, he controlled the entire moment, and before Stern even realized what had happened, his silence had already done more damage than any insult ever could.
How Stern can call snacking with celebs at a fancy restaurant exhausting. Exhausting. Like he finished the overnight shift in a coal mine. Or hearing Kat talk about her pets. Fair. But I get it, life is tough, especially when you've been cut off from the world for 2 years in a $20 million beach house. I mean, you have no idea how tiring it is walking all the way from the wine cellar to the tennis court. And
chaos used to be Howard Stern's element. Controversy never scared him. He charged right at it. No matter who he angered, his voice shook the industry. Now, however, he seems focused on winning over the very Hollywood crowd he once unsettled. The transformation is not only surprising, but also a little sad. The Stern of the past would have laughed at this more polished version of himself. He wasn't the type to blend in with famous people, sit quietly, or smile for the camera. He was bold, fearless, and relentless. That spark and drive are gone. Now he seems willing to fit in with the powerful rather than challenge them, offering polite approval from a safe place among the privileged. The rebellious attitude that made him unique has faded. His once rough voice has softened into a calm, almost whisper-like tone, and both Gutfeld and the audience noticed immediately. This isn't the limit-pushing outsider anymore. It's a former rebel trying to pretend he still belongs there. The saddest part? Stern didn't seem to notice. Like a lion without claws, he sat quietly while Gutfeld spoke. Hesitant, uncertain, subdued, Gutfeld wasn't just making random jabs. He highlighted a real loss of influence. Stern now seemed like someone who had destroyed his own mythology, a figure slowly fading into irrelevance. At that point, Gutfeld went further than critique. He stepped into the space Stern had abandoned. No one else claimed it. Stern simply left it there, turning his back and leaving the spotlight empty.
I thank God for Howard Stern because he does make me feel normal by comparison. Because I'm like the Fox recluse. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. But he makes me look like, Pete Davidson on a...
Yeah, he's a germaphobe. Like, his wife rescues cats. That's her job, apparently. Her thing. Or you can get toxoplasmosis.
That's true.
Cryptosporidiosis.
AIDS! No, you can't, but...
You can't get... But you can get...
I mean, what are the chances I get that again?
Like a lot of diarrhea related.
It was like watching a legend lose his shine in real time. While Gutfeld worked to create something fresh, strong, and authentic, Stern sat there enjoying Hollywood praise and leaning on his past. He didn't resist or react. He simply ignored it. Gutfeld entered confidently as if the moment had been waiting for him, without flashy edits or effects. It was a genuine moment with real impact. Unlike other TV clips that quickly disappeared, this one lingered. Stern's expression revealed more than words ever could. You could see how unsettled he was without zooming in. The man who once dominated radio seemed like he wanted to shrink behind the desk. The irony was striking. The person who built a career exposing dishonesty had become what he once sought to challenge. Gutfeld didn't need to shout. The audience immediately understood. In minutes, the clip went viral, turning an impromptu interview into a nationwide reality check that no one could ignore or forget.
Radio show, Howard Stern defended wokeism, saying it's a compliment when someone calls him woke. Listen.
If woke means I can't get behind Trump, which is what I think it means, or that I support people who want to be transgender, or I'm for the vaccine, dude.
Stern got even more pathetic, wondering how she doesn't nap.
When you said you don't nap, I get it, because like what you've taken on is extraordinarily difficult. And I mean, do you feel the pressure of the moment in the sense that, like, when I met you out in the hall, I said, I'm really nervous because I want this to go well for you. I want it to go well for the country.
Gutfeld didn't need to raise his voice. The internet reacted instantly to his words, which carried more weight than any shout could. Those who had watched Stern's transformation for years didn't just laugh, they agreed. This wasn't a sudden attack, but a public acknowledgement of what fans had quietly observed. Stern's gradual change, now exposed without pretense. And it wasn't coming from a random commentator. It came from someone whose career was built on boldness, honesty, and directness, the same traits Stern once embodied. The whispers stopped as the truth appeared on every screen. Even Stern's most loyal followers couldn't defend what they were seeing. Gutfeld didn't just wound Stern's pride, he revealed cracks in his entire legacy. Politics didn't matter. This was about authenticity versus facade. Gutfeld remained confident long after the moment ended, while Stern, sitting stiff in a spotless suit, seemed uneasy with his past. The man who had shocked audiences for decades now appeared hesitant, quiet, and withdrawn. Millions of viewers saw Stern's silence as a surrender rather than strength. No one was convinced he had truly grown. There was no rise, only the fading voice of a legend. Stern didn't take control, he stepped back.
Stern being holed up in his house that long, it explains a lot of things. Like how you forget how other people live. especially in hard times like a pandemic. For the longest time, 2 years in fact, the same time Stern's been AWOL, I wondered where he went. Not physically, but mentally. I bet you did too. Remember his screeds about COVID? They were epic and angry, and not to mention wrong.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? F them, their freedom.
Dramatic effects and flashy lighting weren't needed to reveal the truth. What mattered was courage, and Gutfeld had it. Stern entered the set composed, but the moment exposed his transformation. It was like holding up a mirror for everyone to see, line by line. The audience didn't need convincing. They had noticed the shift over the years, but now it was clear, unfiltered, and undeniable. Stern seemed to think this calm, polite, intelligent version of himself was progress, unaware he had surrendered the very qualities that made him powerful. Under the guise of civility, it was a quiet retreat. Gutfeld didn't shout. He simply presented the contrast between Stern's daring, bold past and his cautious, polished present. There was no laughter, only shock and a hint of sadness. The man who once mocked the powerful now seemed unsettled by sharp critique, remaining silent as a striking remark landed like a hammer. This wasn't control or dignity, it was a live collapse. The danger, fire, and unpredictability were gone, replaced by caution and polish. While Gutfeld moved forward with boldness and clarity, Stern quietly receded. It wasn't just a generational moment, it was a reminder that bravery still existed, while one who once commanded attention had subtly faded into the background.
Saturday Night Live would be where they have Maya Rudolph playing you. I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of.
Oh my God.
There's too much at stake. I believe the entire future of this country right now, as America, land of the free, home of the brave, I think it's literally on the line.
So a guy who's supposed to be funny for a living now claims her candidacy is too important to joke about. This is a guy who once joked right after the Columbine massacre that the killers should have raped the students before killing them. Not that I like that Stern, but this pendulum swing from saying the most tasteless thing in the universe to putting your balls in a Tic Tac container. You gotta wonder what's going on here. It's striking that the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopeless...
Gutfeld remained calm and commanding, while Stern gradually surrendered his defiance in exchange for the approval of indifferent onlookers. The audience didn't pity him as he complained about being exhausted after dinners with celebrities. They winced. What could possibly be so tiring? Smiling under the lights at red carpet events? His most loyal fans could no longer play along. The radio lion had become...
Happy Friday, America! Oh man, tonight is a special night. It's Feminine Friday, where all the panelists are women. Tonight we have Kennedy, David McDowell, Eric Tim, and Janine Garofalo. Long way for a joke. Okay, I hope you had a good week. I did, and no thanks to Howard Stern. True, the New York Post reported that Stern hit a chic restaurant in NYC with a crew of A-listers, including Jimmy Kimmel, Jennifer Aniston, John Hamm, Justin Theroux, Jason Bateman. I was not invited.
A domestic cat, purring quietly. Stern, whose voice once shook the world, now muttered about fatigue without any fire or satire. Fame had replaced fearlessness, and sneaking around Beverly Hills dinners could not substitute for the courage he once had. Silence no longer signaled strength. There was no spark, no bite, no reminder of the storm he carried. He quietly relinquished his throne, offering it without a fight. What millions saw in real time couldn't be undone by spin or statements. Gutfeld didn't aim to shock. He simply spoke the truth, taking control of the room. In a culture that honors honesty over hype, Stern, once a firebrand, faded into the background while Gutfeld stood tall, fearless, and fully in command.